Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back. It is 17 after 9 o'clock. A very, very good morning and a big welcome to our Polokwane listeners on One Nation FM. Interview still to be covered this morning is the CEO of XA Global Trade Advisor, Peter Duplessis, to talk to us about outlawing the trade of scrap metal. And we are also going to be looking at the president having appointed members of the National Advisory Council into corrupt practices in South Africa. So there's going to be a special committee appointed to look into corruption and hopefully mitigate it. But first up, we're going to be talking to the president of Transform RSA, Crown Prince Adil Nchabeleng. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the program, Adil. I am hearing feedback. Okay, it seems to have disappeared. Nope, I'm still getting feedback. I hope you can hear me loudly and clearly.
Can hear you very clearly.
Okay, let's start the conversation. There is a bit of feedback on my line, but let us start the conversation by looking at the arrest of Transnet executives. There were 4 people that were arrested in the early hours of yesterday morning. And obviously, they were all out on 50,000 rands bail. They will be appearing in court in the middle of October. So lots to be answered there. Thus far, just 4 of the Transnet executives were arrested. And obviously, it's been a long time in coming. And we do want to see justice being served here. Your thoughts on the arrest of these 4 Transnet executives? I think it is the people mentioned here is obviously the COO, the CFO, Brian Molefe, Financial Officer Anoj Singh, and 2 others. Can you please let us have your thoughts on the arrest of these people?
I think the arrest yesterday came in as a result of various arrests that have been made actually against some of the CEOs of Transnet itself regarding transactions. I think they spent between 2010 right up to about 2015 when I think Brian Molefe left Transnet. The arrest as a result of a report which was released by the Zondo Commission relating to some people named in the commission as having abated and assisted, corruption within the aspect of the, state capture element. But what is surprising to us from a Transform RSA point of view is one that we see a trend whereby Black people, Black executives in the majority have been targeted since the last administration, which is the administration of the current President Cyril Ramaphosa, has come into effect. Individuals have been targeted directly. Whoever was related to Jacob Zuma as the former president, and all of those who worked in institutions, parastatals, agencies, as well as private companies, have been targeted deliberately under the guise that the report of the Zondo Commission implicates them in corruption. But none of these things have any factual material. I mean, yesterday at the court, when I think one of the advocates for NPA or one of the people from the NPA were explaining to the court, was that the arrest was based on the fact that they are currently rounding up people, not necessarily having finalized their investigation. Investigation says that there are implicated individuals within this matter of Transnet and all its procurement programs. So as a result, they issued out a charge against Brian Molefe, I think Anoj Singh, and some Pillay, as a couple of other people who were actually did mentioned on that arrest charge sheet. On the aspect of Brian Molefe, which is what we're interested in, is the fact that the charges says that he had contravened Public Finance Management Act. So when you say you contravene an act, you had particularly the act mentioned, which is a Public Management Act, you have to tell us what was the convention. There is a 33 million rands, 98 million rands mentioned in to intervention of that particular act. But nobody says there was monies paid to these individuals of paid, and as a result, with that paid money, they actually benefited unduly and had appointed a company that they were linked to. So there's a bit of a confusion on the aspect of the arrest of Brian Molefe, particularly in this regard. Is he one of those that he has been targeted, that the current administration under the NPA leadership, under the leadership and direction of the NPA, are actually up individuals pure their image?
Adil, according to my literature, the notes that I have, it is suggested by the NPA that these executives face charges of fraud and breach of public finance regulations linked to a 93 million rand bribery and fraud case surrounding the 2015 purchase of more than 1,000 locomotives. And as I think we're all aware of that particular story, that those locomotives were not fit for South African railway usage. I think they were too high, they didn't fit the correct specs, etc. So my understanding is that is the case that they are being charged with, unless we have the facts all muddled up here.
Absolutely, that is the aspect that they're charged for. And in that charge case, as you have looked, mentioned, the mic keeps on getting muted and
yes,
unmuted.
Unfortunately, we're having a problem. Adil, can we just take a short break and reconnect with you, because you're sharing some very important thoughts and information with us, and I don't want to lose it because we have a bad line. Let's try and reconnect with you, please. We'll take a short ad break in the meanwhile.
Joining hands, Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
The Syrian crisis has raged for over 4,000 days. 4,000 days of suffering, displacement, hunger, and intolerable insecurity. With your help, Islamic Relief can continue to stand alongside you. Never has your support been so important. Together, we can stand with the Syrian people. We can help them build a better future. Will you continue to stand with the people of Syria? Please, donate now.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world, where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman, so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
When the perfect blend of stylish decor, exquisite halal cuisine, and warm hospitality come together, it could only mean Al Bayt Lodge, your true home away from home. Al Bayt is the ideal heaven for families, business people, and tourists, with its 4-star family rooms and other luxurious facilities. Conveniently situated close to Port Elizabeth Airport, the beach, and other amenities, your stay will be truly unforgettable, as you'll be taking home lasting memories of the warm hospitality, the serenity and tranquility that Al Bayt has to offer. For reservations, call 041 583 6415 or visit www.albaytlodge.co.za.
One small gesture can change someone's life. The SANZAF Meals Distribution Project aims to reach out to 100,000 individuals each month with freshly prepared meals daily. With your assistance, we can make this possible by contributing just 12 Rand per meal. Call us on 011 834 6046 for more information. SANZAF, changing lives through development and relief.
Breaking stereotypes, moving boundaries, joining hands. Salam Media. Humanity sets the agenda.
If connecting up with Crown Prince Adil Nchabeleng, and he is the president of Transform RSA. We are talking about the arrests early yesterday morning of the Transnet executive, four of the executive team of former Transnet executives. Brian Molefe, Anoj Singh, and two others. I have no idea why the two others' names have not been mentioned in this report. And obviously, this is with regard to a 93 million rand bribery and fraud case surrounding the 2015 purchase of more than 1,000 locomotives. So it's back to you, Adil. Salam alaikum once again. Shall I say Crown Prince Adil Nchabeleng? So great to have you on the show once again. Welcome. I hope you can hear me loudly and clearly.
I can hear you.
Okay,
Thank you
so
so
do you,
much. Salam.
I do apologize for the technical errors that we're experiencing earlier on with the interview, and I'm sorry that you're not on video any longer, but let's forge ahead with the interview. Let me just add one more statement, and then I will allow you to respond. Obviously, this report, the Zonda Commission report, which was released earlier this year, describes Transnet as the primary site of state corruption. And this was obviously after the 4-year investigation into corruption under Zuma. And it found planned racketeering offenses within the operator Transnet for the Guptas, who moved to South Africa in 1993. And let me just add on one more thing before I hand over to you. A couple of a few months ago, we heard that the Guptas were arrested in Dubai. I think South Africans waited with bated breath for them to be repatriated to South Africa, to come and stand trial in South Africa and to pay back the money. We've heard nothing since. Let's first address the Transnet issue, and then you can comment on my second issue raised regarding the Guptas.
Okay. With regards to the Transnet issue, this arrest is quite alarming because it comes at a time when the ANC is actually deciding its national leadership. And as a result, individuals like Brian Molefe are some of the people who actually are standing very strong within the national ANC national movement in respect to be one of the incoming NEC leaders, really. And, given this situation, already his chances of actually being elected as an NEC member are actually currently very slim. And that the situation that he has just been arrested and he's actually been charged, because the rules actually bar those that are charged and arrested from participating in the national activities of the party itself, the ANC. So that's the one point to actually look at it from. The other point of it is it's quite strange to see that one, that NPAA has issued out an arrest without having actually concluded an investigation. They say this is an ongoing investigation. Names have been actually mentioned during the process of the investigation, but no credible evidence has been provided. The current claim that there is 93 million that has been, sort of found to be, wanting, in the sense that they are linked to a 93 million transaction that is linked to Trillion. And under Trillion, there was a McKinsey as well, because remember, Trillion operated within a McKinsey ambient. McKinsey had the deal with Transnet, and thereafter, Trillion was the BEE partner of McKinsey International. So it's quite strange that none of the key people who are related to the companies, McKinsey particularly, including element of Trillion, they did arrest some of the directors of Trillion. But on the aspect of Transnet, where Brian Molefe, as well as Anoj Singh, who were the executives of Transnet at the time, Anoj was a group financial director, Brian Molefe was a group CEO, being arrested on the fact that Brian was actually said that he had contravened the Public Finance Management Act. What act and what action of contravention was that? That is an ongoing investigation. So with trend of people being targeted, arrested without any proof of credible evidence or even having provided anything that is substantial. On the fact that you have just been mentioned in a matter that is ongoing on the investigation, suddenly an arrest is affected and your life is restricted and you're made to pay obscene amounts of money, in order to raise the bill and everything. And from a transformative point of view, we find this highly unacceptable that we've seen a trend since President Cyril Ramaphosa came into administration of the South African government. He has actually allowed for some of these trends to happen. Probably it's not him directly doing any of these things. It's people under his command. I mean, NPA reports directly into the president, and some of these matters are discussed ahead of time before any action is taken. So it's quite strange to see that we are really deteriorating into a really perverse as well as a perverted judiciary system where arrests are just made willy-nilly. People are charged without any evidence or credible, particular, fact material, and are made to live a hard life on the basis that they had gone against the narrative. If you remember, the biggest fight in Transnet at the time was between Glencore and the executive of Transnet, whereby Glencore wanted certain concessions given to it, and as a result, they had a loggerhead between the executives of Transnet because they were not willing to offer that. And since then, the lives of those executives have been placed under a severe strain as well as targeting from the authorities.
So you are saying then that obviously the executives of Transnet are either the fall guys or they deliberately being targeted, that there is no case against them. How do we then account for that 93 million rand bribery and fraud case charge they're talking about? Whom do we level that at? And then the second part of my question was around the Guptas. How come up to now we've not, heard anything further on that matter? Is it the department of, whichever department is responsible, whichever minister is responsible for bringing them back to South Africa, is dragging his or her heels? Surely this was a case in one of the Western countries. By now, the perpetrators would have been already repatriated and had already either been charged in a court of law and probably rotting in jail.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me start with the aspect of the Guptas. And I said earlier, the issue of the Guptas, I'm still confused myself because I have not seen any credible evidence and material that says that they were arrested. We've heard of a report, but no formal confirmations, no international relations confirmations. Even the Department of, the International Relations hasn't made any confirmation in this. The Department of Justice itself hasn't made any confirmation. So we hear rumors at the media level, but there hasn't been any credible information. So at this stage, for me, it's a waste of time to comment on something that's not going to even be of material effect. But we are really led into some kind of a rabbit hole on some of these issues because it came at a really confusing time. Soon after, there was the Pala, dollars, case
Sure.
where the president's money was stolen, and suddenly the Gupta story sprang out of the head somewhere, and yet there hasn't been anything credible that proves so. Right now, nobody can tell us for sure, unless it is confirmed by the Embassy of South Africa in the Embassy of UAE in South Africa, or it is confirmed directly by the Department of Public International Relations as well as Justice, that they have confirmed that this Gupta families members were arrested in Dubai, which has not yet been established till today. So, I still don't know. Currently, I think it is a speculation, or it was used as a means to spin and redirect the narrative from the main Pala, issue as well as a matter that had currently come up at that time.
And obviously, with the elective conference around the corner in December, I guess everyone's scurrying around, protecting their own territory and their own tails. Sadly, this leaves the South African public more confused than ever before. It seems as if certain people or certain factions are being very fiercely protected. I say this, and I know I sound like a stuck record, but South Africa is on its knees as far as infrastructure, corruption, financial mismanagement. We are crippled. Financially, we are crippled. Our youth are crying out for employment. And if these issues are not put into perspective and addressed timelessly, properly, correctly, and the right people brought to book, I'm afraid I have to believe what Thabo Mbeki is saying, and that is we're ripe for an Arab Spring. Your thoughts?
I fully concur with the former president that South Africa has reached a stage where there will be an Arab Spring at any time. We don't know where and how it's going to actually happen, but it is true. 80% of the South African population is under poverty, unemployment. COVID has finished off the last of what the country was capable of doing. And the infrastructure, the government is in a total disarray. There is just no leadership whatsoever at any level. The ones that are saved are the ones who have a lot of money and are able to live off their savings as well as capital accrual and the opportunities that they continue to enjoy. But the majority of South Africans are living under strain. So, yes, President Thabo Mbeki is quite right. We are living at that level where there will be an Arab Spring. But what is alarming for me is that there's two very strong faction warring groups. One is the fact that the previous administration, which was under President Zuma, all his people, and I can talk from experience. At some point, I was targeted, and I really lived a very difficult life, whereby I had, continuous intimidation and, techniques at the time which were used to try and actually get us off some of the matters that we were dealing with as transformers, such as housebreaking and all of those things. So, and it was made public at some point that, I was one of the targeted people because I was related and actually closely linked to former President Jacob Zuma. But this trend has not stopped, by the way. It has just continued, whereby now there are major arrests that's actually been carried out on people like, for instance, Brian and everything. Currently, there is no credible evidence of even 93 million paid up to him or in any related individual. But yet the NPA has gone ahead and actually have effected an arrest, which means they are either doing when you do a, interrogation technique, you have to put people into such a corner that they will divulge or actually give up information unwillingly or even agree to certain concessions, whether correct or not, whether with evidence or no evidence, whether with proof or no proof. For the fact that they want to survive, they will make deals just to actually do their kind of, concessions and say, no, it's true, this and this happened. Even if it didn't happen, they just sign up. Plea bargains, they call them plea bargains in the US. And I think it is some kind of an interrogatory technique. You can't just arrest people on the basis that you have had something. There must be credible proof before an arrest is effected. If a thief goes and steals, they must find the item and they must find a related to that item. If there's fingerprints, or if the person was found in the incident of stealing or with the goods. In this case, we haven't been presented anything. It's an ongoing case. It's going to be still argued over a period of time. But we hope that, we are not really decaying to that point where we are truly a banana republic, where the institutions of justice and state are used in order to purge political opponents, to deal with people who probably have been difficult to the previous, conglomerates, particularly being the likes of Glencore at this time, who felt, that they had people who were really highly, hard against them. Because I know some of the reasons of what happened within Transnet comes out of the fact that there were people who were disgruntled, and particularly companies, as a result, now they are being haunted for having actually, given a bit of a, the government's hard task, because some of those companies were taken to a corporate governance structures and they were actually really pressed hard to a point where, their interests were threatened. So, it became a big thing at the time. So they are being targeted for that reason. And we are vehemently against a state which uses its apparatus, such as the judiciary system, such as the courts, in order to punish people and vilify them, and
Okay.
actually when they are
Adil, Adil, unfortunately, we've run out of time. I have a few very important questions that I needed to put to you regarding the Zondo Commission's findings against Brian Molefe and other executives, but we don't have time for that. I do hope and pray that we do have the opportunity sometime in the future to unpack this in greater detail. But wonderful talking with you. Till the next time, as always, Salaam Alaikum to you.
Walaikum salam.
That was Crown Prince Adil Nchabeleng from he's the president of Transform RSA, talking about the arrest of 4 Transnet executives, which obviously happened yesterday. It's the big story at the moment. We'll see how that unfolds. He, of course, is in total, he has total opposing views to that arrest. He truly believes that there is no evidence linking these people to any form of crime or corruption. It is 9:43. In a minute or two, we are going to be talking to Peter du Plessis about cable theft in South Africa. So please do stay with us.